Hello, and welcome to the Collegian Podcast. I'm your host, David O'Brien.
And I'm your other host, Kylie and David, and we're here today with Enrique Carrasco. Welcome.
Welcome, Enrique. Why don't you tell us about yourself?
So, Enrique Carrasco, I'm a sophomore poli-sci major with a minor in leadership and global understanding.
Oh, wow.
I actually just submitted a form to become a double major in theology with Dave.
I'm also a double major. Let's go!
Our campus, I'm the sports editor for the Collegian. I'm an ambassador. I'm an orientation leader.
Jack of all trades, the master of all. So, Enrique, why do you also talk about your favorite roommate?
Favorite roommate? Yeah, he's actually a pretty cool guy. He's Serbian.
I meant your other favorite.
Oh, you mean Jordan?
I meant your other favorite.
Of course, Dave. Who's my favorite
Oh,
roommate?
thanks, buddy. For those of you who are not aware, Enrique and I live together. We do not share a room, but
Sadly.
maybe next time. So, Enrique, why don't you tell us a little bit about why you wanted to become a political science major?
So I was actually born in Mexico. I'm a Mexican actually, so both of my parents, and I lived there until about the age of 6 when I had to move to Texas because my parents and my family and I were fleeing for our lives. Not necessarily fleeing for our lives, but there wasn't like any real threat against us. This was cartel wars and stuff like that. The city I was born in was once the world's most dangerous city to live in. So my parents fleeing from this.
And now you're in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Kind of full circle.
Look at that.
No, please continue. So.
No, yeah, you're fine. So my parents obviously fleeing from this. We moved to Texas. My dad was a U.S. citizen, so he was able to get me a sister and my mom, and eventually my mom became a resident and actually a U.S. citizen.
Do you want to talk a little bit about your transition as a 6-year-old kid moving from Mexico to the United States?
Yeah, what was that like?
Yeah, it was really interesting just because, well, first of all, I didn't know any English, so that was a pretty big barrier. I had to learn English in school. Most of my family was still in Mexico at this time, so it was kind of lonely. It was a really bad time in my life. Even as a 6-year-old, I remember I hated it.
So I know from our own conversations, but do you prefer, like I know when you're home you visit Mexico a lot. Did you visit Mexico a lot during this period, or did it take some time for you to finally start going back on vacation?
So it took us about 2 years to go back into Mexico, and then the day that we actually went back into Mexico, we were robbed at gunpoint.
Oh my gosh.
So and then it took us another like 4 years to not go back.
But now you're in more of a comfortable group, you know where to go and people to the same.
Yeah, well, it just got to a point where my family and I we decided to like we became really a lot of family. I had to into my cousins, my brothers, and everything. Until we figured out that family was just what it is.
Yeah. So you're a political science major. How do you feel about certain aspects of the government's views on Mexican immigrants, as well as Mexico itself, at this point in time?
It's just how do I put this? There's a lot of different sides to this whole political debate, but a big part of it is the humanitarian part. Back when I worked at refugee centers with migrants, so I know firsthand experience. Myself being an immigrant, I know firsthand experience what it's like to migrate to this country. I just feel no matter what way you would ever use, you would properly portray the situation really is.
Lots of them. And I absolutely agree. The only truly independent news source is the LaSalle Collegian. So our readers know they are always getting the best, but in general, yeah, when you read any article on anything, it's always skewed. And also, at the end of the day, a lot of journalists who are allowed to see this kind of stuff, they're only given a very brief portion of behind the curtain because these refugee camps, as well as anything the government is involved in, don't really want full accountability or the whole story to be told because there's always going to be wrong with that story. So, yeah. Outside of the immigration debate, do you feel that the transition for refugees and other immigrants is more worse than you usually hear about? Like, how's your experience compared to the general stories you hear?
So my own personal experience in the U.S. My own personal experience was a lot easier.
Yeah.
It was a lot less complicated. I didn't have to be speaking into a country, so like some people do. I was lucky enough for my dad to be asleep soon, so it was just going straight past the street to Sixth Street.
I have a question of how you feel about like the terminology surrounding immigration and how some people like use the term like illegal alien or illegal immigrant versus like undocumented. Is there like a certain term you prefer as an immigrant?
As an immigrant, me personally, I don't really see either side of the debate. I'm not being able to be a sixth person, but I do know that I'm working hand in hand with these refugees and these people that you prefer. Some people, or most people prefer undocumented. Just makes them seem more human.
Yeah, so essentially your primary thing about label is to just be as humane as humanly possible. It's not about like the technical term, right? It's just being a polite and regular person.
Precisely.
Makes sense.
I have a fun question.
Oh wow.
What's your fun question, Kylie?
I thought every question we have is fun.
We're serious for a minute.
Okay.
What's your favorite traditional, authentic Mexican cuisine?
Oh. See, this is kind of unfair because it's kind of like making a mother choose her favorite cake.
Is the answer putting chili powder on apples?
Chili powder does go on apples.
No, it doesn't, bro. Bro,
You are misinforming the people.
No, the people. Listen. As one of the hosts of this podcast, I would be remiss if I was giving any false information, and I refuse to let them walk away from this podcast thinking you can put chili powder on apples. You know what you put on apples? Peanut butter, not chili powder.
Chili powder and everything. And
Don't do it. Don't do it, folks. I've seen this man put chili powder around drinks and beverages he has that aren't tomato juice. And you just shouldn't do that. It should be a crime.
But I would say, going back to the question, Kylie.
Of course.
I would say tacos going down. I love tacos. There's a bunch of other stuff you probably definitely don't like.
No, but like I want you to explain it to me on the pod.
I would say it depends on the situation, but it's either between tacos or in the middle. It's like a traditional style soup, and it's like it's like corn and stuff like that, and it's meat in there, and it's spicy. Actually, fun fact, this comes like from the Aztecs. The Aztec people used to put human thumbs and stuff like that in the middle, and
I still put that on my soup.
okay, it goes great.
Yeah, I
Might be
feel
the
that really
soup
adds some
BG.
flavor. I mean, honestly, wouldn't be surprised if at BMG they were like, "Oh, what if someone fell in the vat of meat? Here you go anyway." Interesting. All right. So in the past, you and I have discussed a little bit about the Aztecs and how some of your heritage is with the Aztecs. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I just think I love Mexico, and it's really different than the U.S. in the sense that most people can trace their lineage back to Native Mexicans. So I can trace myself back to Native people, and just the whole native scene in Mexico, the native history, culture. It's gorgeous. I visited the Aztec pyramids. I visited different pyramids with the natives in Mexico. I'm beautiful native people. It's a beautiful culture. It's a beautiful culture.
As a fellow religion major, do you want to share your favorite piece of Aztec mythology with the listeners towards their songs?
Yeah, actually, my favorite piece has to be the story of the Mexican flag. So on the Mexican flag, the crest, it's an eagle standing on top of cactus with a snake in its mouth. To the natives, so the natives were roaming around the Americas to find places to settle. And for them, the eagle eating a snake was on top of the cactus, like a really specific symbol, was a really religious symbol for them. So they stumbled into Tenochtitlan, which is modern day Mexico City, and there they saw an eagle recently perched on top of the cactus, and they decided to go the city, and that is now present day Mexico City.
Well, you learn something new every day. That is a good story, yeah.
Would you ever get a tattoo of that symbol?
So my mom's probably gonna watch this. No, but I do want the Mexican crest right off my heart. But I wouldn't get it more.
Yeah, I mean, if it makes you feel better, I know a few members of my family listen to this. I would never get a tattoo, but if I was to get a tattoo, which I totally would, I would bring it to my kids. Amen. Amen to that.
But what would your tattoo be?
I don't know. I'd probably get like kind of frog or something. I would definitely do it because I think it's like funny in the moment, and then it'd be like 10 years later, it'd be like ah. I feel like it would just be like one of those spontaneous decisions. One of our producers has a lot of tattoos. She's
I have three tattoos.
She's saying she has 3 tattoos. What are those tattoos of?
The moon.
The moon.
The creation of Adam.
The creation of Adam.
And a semicolon.
And a punctuation mark. All.
You know what that means.
I know exactly. We are supportive of all tattoos in the Collegian Podcast, and shout out to our producer Emily Allgair. I just want to say, I like your tattoos.
Thank you,
They're
David.
very good.
Thank you.
Back to the show. So you're a political science major with a minor in LGU. We both are also minors in LGU. In fact, we share a course together. Enrique, this one's going straight up to you. What is the favorite thing you've learned in LGU as your minor?
Man, it's just.
I know there's a lot. I know there's a lot to
That's a tough question to answer, actually. You just learned so much this semester. We've gone through so many great, interesting topics. We've had great discussions in class. I just don't think it would be fair to Dr. Marjorie Allen to just choose one specific topic.
Wow. Talk about a home run of an answer. Fair enough. I think I'm surprised you didn't answer with favorite thing I learned is leadership and global understanding. But frankly, there is too much for me to say. I feel like walking away from that minor, you learn a lot. And frankly, any prospective students are listening to this podcast, I absolutely recommend, without a doubt, the LGU minor. And I think Kylie feels the same, isn't that right, Kylie?
For sure. It really has enriched me and deepened my understanding of both leadership and global understanding. And I hope one day me and my classmates can go to Ireland together.
I too would like to go to Ireland. If I can't go to Ireland, I will just ask Enrique to let me go to Mexico with him, because
I see what they're doing.
I would love to go to Jerusalem with you. We would have a great time there. I still think jury's not out. Junior year, you and I spent the summer doing some religion-based activity.
Can I explain to the podcast what this religion-based activity is?
By all means.
I don't even know what you're talking about, so sure.
You want to live in a monastery, right?
That'd be next summer.
Oh.
That would be this summer, I mean.
Okay.
I do want to do that. So if there's any prospective missionaries out there, I keep saying the word prospective, but if any of you are with the church and have a room for me to stay at, I would appreciate it.
Hashtag get DOB to the monastery.
Hashtag get DOB to the monastery. I have to return. I have to transcribe the documents before it's too late. Yeah. Alright. Well, so I would like to throw in, this is the last podcast episode before the holiday season. And
Feliz Navidad.
Feliz Navidad.
Feliz Navidad. And I have to ask our guest, this is a man who loves Christmas more than anyone I've ever met. In fact, he gifted all of us a jar of nuts the other day for the holiday season, because everyone knows that chestnuts roasting on an open fire is a very large part of the holidays. He has also brought back numerous Christmas lights. Enrique, what is your favorite part of the holiday season?
I gotta say, my favorite part of the holiday season, it's being in family, being together with people. I also love the snow. As you know, I'm a huge fan of skiing.
I too love when it snows.
Yeah,
in fact, I'm really looking forward to the next time it does, and you and I can have a splendid time together.
Trust me, David, I do too. But yeah, and so I love the snow. Love to be like around family, like the warmness of Christmas.
I like the coziness.
Yeah. It's like Mexican Christmas. It's always like you're with your family on Christmas Eve. You stay there. Midnight comes. You open up all your gifts. You're with your family, and then you go home. And then you have like your own house. Like you have your own small Christmas with like your nuclear family.
That's the way my family's super Italian. On Christmas Eve, we have a big feast, a big dinner. At the end of the night, we all open our gifts. We go home, spend the next day with one of our nuclear families. And I think it's the best way to celebrate the holidays. I love having the big Christmas Eve dinner. It's really my favorite. My grandmother makes these stuffed olives, and you know how much I love. I love olives, and I really like stuffed olives. So,
I just pictured us like getting a fan base, and then like the fans will send you olives.
If anyone wants to send me olives, To my uncle listening to this episode, if you want to mail me some olives, I would appreciate it. How about you, Kylie? What's your favorite part of the holidays?
I think, like Enrique said, just spending time with family. I'm looking forward to finishing up my schoolwork, having a nice rest.
You're telling
The
me.
food, the family, the fun. That's what I gotta
The
say.
food, the family, the fun. That's
They're some of my favorite F words.
oh, of course.
Of course.
Please don't share any other efforts. Alrighty, well. Any closing? What do you want to talk about? Do you have any questions for us, Enrique?
I didn't know that this was going to happen. I didn't prepare any questions.
Well,
Think of one.
Kind of put me on the spot here.
that's the
Yes.
point. Any questions, man?
Wait, I found something really good. You say your first impression that you had of David and I.
No, you know that's not
Whoa, well now I want to know.
Alright, so Dave, I just thought you were a pretty big nerd, bro.
Alright, bro.
You do wear glasses sometimes, so you can't.
I do wear glasses.
You can't blame me.
It's true.
And you were always the one that you were always talking in class.
I do talk a lot in class.
Really?
Yeah, I know. I know it's a surprise. I know I have a very calm demeanor on the show.
So shy.
I'm very shy. I'm very non-confrontational, but sometimes in class you just gotta get involved. Yeah.
And Kylie, I thought you looked really mean when I first met you.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I thought you looked really mean.
Sam,
Yeah,
you thought
Sam
that
nodded. Our other producer is nodding, folks.
You just look scary. Yeah, you see? And you just look like you're really mean and like you're just about to yell at me. But you're not.
Enrique, I'm not gonna lie, my first impression of you, we were on the Zoom call and you changed your background to some like meme. And I was just like, you called me a nerd, but like from anecdotal experience, when I see people do that, I'm like, would that guy like to play? But then one time in class, you PM'd me, are you today's date? And I went, what do you mean? And you went, because you were 12 out of 10. And then after that, it was October 12th. And after that, I'm like, this guy's cool.
And the rest was history.
And the rest was history. and now we're roommates.
Oh, wait, the airmarks, bro.
Because we don't share a room, we just live in the same house.
We're housemates.
We're housemates. Yeah. Alrighty. Well, I think this was a fantastic interview. I feel like I've learned a lot.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I hope you've learned a lot too. I'm David O'Brien. Feel free to email me at o'briend10@lasalle.edu. If you have any questions, comments, or connections, or any other questions regarding the podcast.
And you can reach me at governk8@lasalle.edu. If you want to be on the pod, tap our line.
Yeah, tap the line. Alrighty. Have a good one. And have a great rest of the semester. And see you next time.
Please not be on.
Please have a good time.